Morning, namaste. How are you guys doing? Thank you for coming here. I really appreciate all of you guys who are here. This is a great opportunity for all of us to learn from each other. Today, first of all, I like to say thank you to Holistic Health Practitioners of Greater Cincinnati. This is a fantastic group that was started by Rodney Blackburn, and I like to appreciate all the staff members who are supporting this, all the volunteers. This is a great group for all of us. Today will be our first 10-minute, 5-10 minute show. I'd like to answer, if you have any questions. The topic for today I'd like to cover is depression. Depression has been since depression is this month of December. Let's cover a little bit about depression. The question will be, how do I treat my depression? So first of all, we have to understand what depression is overall. Depression is a word, depressed. It's things are going down. So we associate depression with our own selves, our emotional feelings, and it's an energy. So we have to realize that whenever the energy changes in us, we feel something. Energy is changed by 5 different senses. We have 5 senses, and then the 6th being our mind, the thought patterns of our mind. So when we're feeling low, when we're having low energy, we will feel something different. We may not want to sleep well. We may not be sleeping well. The symptoms of depression may include guilt, our lack of interest, lack of feeling in tune with the world, not being able to finish our tasks, feeling of hurting ourselves. There are many different overall feelings that we may get that are low. So one of the things we have to understand is in order to feel better, we have to address these 5 senses. So let's talk about sense number 1. Let's talk about ears. So when you're feeling low, address it from the perspective of listen to something positive. Listen to something that you like. Listen to some music that you may be interested in. So get involved with this sense. So that's sense number 1. Number 2, eyes. Look at something different. We may want to sit in one room, or we may not want to go out somewhere. But I like you to think about it from a perspective of another sense. Get another sense involved. Go out, look at something else. Look at nature, watch a movie, or go meet a friend. The 3rd sense will be to eat, to involve our taste. Eat something that you have always enjoyed. Go out to another restaurant. Make some food that tastes something different. Involve a different spice. We have a lot of different spices that have a lot of good properties in terms of helping us feel better, right? Turmeric can be anti-inflammatory. We have jasmine. We have different types of teas that can help us elevate our mood. And you guys have all heard of this kind of things. So involving another sense would be taste. The 4th sense would be our nose, smell. When we involve, let's say, different essential oils, different aromatherapy, we have heard of these kind of topics where we can involve different, let's say, rose or jasmine or let's say chamomile. There are different essential oils that are out there that we can use to elevate our sense of well-being, and that can absolutely help with that. And the 5th sense being touch, right? Sense of touch. Go out and get yourself involved. Do something practical. Do something that is handy. Go out and give a hug to your friends or family. Feeling of touch is one of the most powerful sense that we have that can elevate our mood. These are 5 senses. Now we have to address depression from another perspective. Thought patterns, right? We know when we feel depressed, or we have heard in depression, our thought patterns can vary. So average average number of thoughts that an average person has is somewhere about 40,000 thoughts per day. In depression, the number of thoughts can vary from 40,000 to 200,000 or more. People tend to, a person who's depressed may tend to worry and may have lots of different thoughts. Each thought, we know, it has a energy pattern. It is an electrical signal in our brain through different neurons. So each energy, whenever electricity passes, has a magnetic pull, has a energy field around it. So, something that we can do is get into meditation or sit down somewhere and focus on something. Maybe do exercise, talk to somebody, have a therapist or a counselor or a friend who can listen to you. So a lot of times when we talk to ourselves from as a third person perspective, a lot of these thoughts tend to slow down because we cannot think as fast as we speak. So, I mean, we think faster than we speak. So when you talk it out, it tends to slow down your thought pattern. You're able to put it into a perspective. So that's another way. Now, depression is has to do a lot with emotions, right? So another way to think about emotions are neurotransmitters perspective, right? Every neurotransmitter plays a different role for us. It allows us to think differently, it allows us to feel differently. So a lot of times we may have been perfectly healthy all of our life, and then one day suddenly, something happens and it makes us feel low. Life events happen, and it makes us feel different. Um, and that has to do with our emotional ability to compensate or to deal with stresses in life. And that emotional ability is dependent on our neurotransmitters and how we have trained ourselves to think differently, or how we are able to process our thought patterns and information that's coming in towards us and to us. So, neurotransmitters are dependent on what we eat. 90% of the neurotransmitters are made in the gut, and other 10% are synthesized in the brain. So we have to improve our gut health. That is essential to treatment of depression, which is counterintuitive to some sense because depression, we feel it's in our brain, and why do we need to address our gut? But in our gut, we have billions, trillions of bacteria, and these bacteria produce neurotransmitters for us. So when they produce neurotransmitters, we feel better. They do 90% of our work. And that's another way to address depression. There are many metabolic and health related nutrition diseases that can lead to depression. Hormonal imbalances can lead to depression. So you ought to see your primary care doctor to get fully evaluated. Thyroid disease can cause a depression as well. Having an imbalance in your hormonal system, inflammatory system, autoimmune diseases. So that's something to keep in mind. Another great place to go for hormonal balancing, Lynn Hogreffi, she at a Happy Hormone Cottage, she does great work in hormone balancing for men and women, and which is great because you know hormonal imbalances happen because of one reason or another. Body's trying to compensate for the stresses, and as we are working towards those fixes, we may need some hormonal balance, and she can definitely help as well. But yeah, this has been great. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me. I can address it now, or if it's something short, or some next time. Next week, 8 o'clock, we'll be right here on Facebook Live. Thank you. Namaste.